Hopefully, you can request to be back in here. There's no reason for this shit not to be functioning properly. Technical difficulties, y'all. Technical difficulties. We send an invite again. Cool. We're adding them back. Yeah, yeah. It's
What up?
word. Word. Alright.
Alright, we back
Yeah,
on.
man. Shit, like to throw them little curveballs and shit, you know what I'm saying? But, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Shit, man. I forgot what the hell we was discussing. Oh yeah, non-duality and shit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
we were
yeah.
discussing. Yeah,
Fucking
non-duality things.
like shit. Yeah, I'm just trying to connect I'm just trying to connect the shit in the top, but like non-duality, like fucking. Oh yeah, so I was saying, people got like an idea of heaven and shit, and
hmm
yeah, like Christians will have like an idea of heaven, or religious people in general, and it's like a place to go. People create non-duality as a place to go. Non-duality is a reality. It's like what you call duality is non-duality. What you call non-duality is delusion. You feel me? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, man. That's facts right there, dog. Shit, man. Um,
I can't even see you, bro. I just see like hella like text and shit, like hella
text.
Facebook, like the chat. You feel me? Just trying to get rid of that.
Oh, where it's like
It
words
says,
and shit on there.
it says like say something so School of Insight knows you're here, like a bunch of bullshit. But like,
What the fuck? Damn
oh
it,
shit, did I hop
Facebook.
out?
Oh no, you still
Hold
on
on,
here. You can't
You
see
you
me?
can't see me?
Me.
Me. No, I can see you.
I don't know what that
There's
sound is.
people who
You on your phone with this?
huh?
So you on your phone with this or the computer?
Nah, I'm on my phone, bro. I tried on the computer the
Oh,
first time.
all
Mm.
right. Shit, I don't know.
But,
That's weird as fuck. But shit. I
like,
mean, it's going straight now. Minus that
like I
noise
was
that be
saying,
having.
when we talk about non-duality, what we essentially like are saying is everything is of one essence. It's like if you have like a gold, if you have like a vat of gold, you create bracelets, you create watches, you create chains, you create fucking earrings and whatever. All those earrings,
Mm,
all those jewelries, they're all made from that same gold. That gold we can call life, shit we can call God. Now, everything, including what you call duality, that shit is made out of that. That's why it's the same essence. That's non-duality. That all is you. Even your worst enemy is you. That feel me? Your best friend is you. But
facts.
that doesn't mean
Big
not on
facts.
some solipsist shit, not on they're in this brain. There what you call you is infinite, is big, it's like this is like you looking at you. This is a reality of you. This is all one being who is infinite company to himself. It's like how there's
Mm-hmm.
infinite beings that keep each other company. That one being is keeping itself company. That's the like manifestation. Hmm.
Yeah, God alone exists, man. You hit the nail on the head with that, dog. That's exactly what that is. Shit, man. So
It's
let
like
me
a
ask you, bro,
feeling.
like, what's like the deepest, well, what's one of the deepest realizations you've had during meditation?
A lot, but like one is like shit, I was meditating and like this is like it stuck with me. It wasn't like a very intense thing, but it's like it's slow. It wasn't like an intense realization. It was actually like more like some are like some realizations will set you on fire type shit, if you know what I mean. They'll like
Yeah.
they'll put a fire under your ass. Some are like water. Some will cool you down. It was one of
Hmm.
those. It's like yo, I was thinking like what am like I wasn't even thinking of anything, but I just realized what I call me is some of it is like my grandma, some of it is my mom, some of it is my boys, some of it is like my brothers, some of it is like my sisters, some of it is everything. You feel me? Like the rocks, the fucking, and like to take it, it's like I don't exist as like, if you take away that person, a part of me is gone away in a way, like what I call me, and that's the identity. But if you really look into it, the whole universe is me. It's like this whole existence is me. How can I call this me, but I can't call, but I say the dust under my feet is not me? How can I say this is me and like the stars aren't me? You feel me? And I look deeper into that. It's like, okay, like you think this thought process is you, but stop eating for like 5 days. Starve yourself. You'll see how much food is in, I mean, how much life is in the soil, in the food. Become dehydrated. You'll see how much life is in the water. You feel me? In the fucking water, right?
Yeah,
Hold your
yeah,
breath. Hold your breath. You'll see how much life is in the air. Like,
yeah.
go to a jail that has no windows, bro. You'll see how much sunlight is life. You feel me? Lock yourself in your room all day. You'll see how much life is in the sun. Now, you think life is in your thoughts. Stop thinking for 2 seconds, and you'll see how much life is not in your thoughts.
Hmm. Yeah, there you go, man. For
Mhm.
real. It's real
Yeah,
gems.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
like
real, man.
original shit. Like yeah, I've come like that's like my own realization, my own articulation type shit, right?
Hmm.
Like some like some shit like we read, you feel me? But like I feel like the deepest hitting shit is like the shit we come across ourselves, you know?
Hmm. Oh yeah,
And
definitely, man. That
also
experiential
just
knowledge, man.
also just realizing like this so-called separate experience is oneness. You feel me? That's another one,
Yeah.
you know? Like yo, it's like
Yeah,
air breathing
exactly.
air, thoughts thinking thoughts, water
Hmm.
drinking water. Feel me? Consciousness being
Yeah,
conscious.
exactly. The
Yeah,
separateness is truly illusory or illusionary.
yeah.
Damn.
And like when
So,
we say
man.
the word universe, like
Mhm.
people start thinking about galaxies and all these images of the news clips, right? But when we say universe, we're really thinking about the one thing that's the same across the whole universe, and that's existence. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's a lot of like
Existence
the
period.
deepest like shit. If I were to ask you that, I bet you can't answer that, or maybe you can, but like it's a tough
Hey,
question,
man.
bro. It's a tough question,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
Hmm.
Yeah, that shit runs deep, infinitely, eternally. But like, that's why I was gonna ask you this question too, man. Like, what's your take on the soul? Like, what is that? Is that like a fragment of consciousness, or is that just another like body within the infinite bodies, like, of
Shit,
consciousness? And like, I mean, I don't know how to put it, like, for real,
shit.
like what is a soul? Like,
Yo, yo, that's a question. Like, I'ma just put a disclaimer. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I, bro, whatever, you know. Like, that's just something I just leave to like life, you feel me? It's like I say
Yeah.
like one part I know is like the subtle body. That's something that's there. That's something that's beyond this physical existence. Like I heard somebody describe as like this house, it has the wood, right? Like you build the wood, then you lay the bricks. It's like the bricks are laid around the subtle body. And that's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, you could say that, look, if life is one energy, right? And what is energy? Movement, kinetic energy. Where there's movement, there's sound, right? So if you look at it as one energy, it's the unit verse, the one song, one verse. It's the song,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
cosmic song. And your soul is like you're a note. It's the note. You're a note, you feel me, in that cosmic symphony. And it's like you can't say that, for example, you're a producer. You when you lay a beat, you can like look at the layers and shit, but like you can't say this layer is the beat. You can't say that. And you also can't say the beat
Mm-hmm.
exists without the layers or without the like
Yeah.
note, right? So it's like what you
Mm-hmm.
call your soul is like the note. The note can't be removed from the symphony, right? But it's like the note is just confused if it thinks that it's playing the music, right? So your soul is like, it's like, yo, God can't know himself. God can't know herself. God can't know itself, whatever the fuck you want to say. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like an infinite being, bro. It's an infinite being that exists alone, can't know itself, right? So, how does it know itself? How does the music hear itself? Through singular points, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
like my take on it. It's like, or through silence, like your soul is really like, there's one aspect where you could say the soul is the absolute. There's no difference between my soul and your soul. Then you could say like your soul and my soul are different. They're unique. They're they're like a unique sound in a cosmic symphony, right? A
Mm-hmm.
unique fragrance or whatever. Yeah,
Word. Shit,
that'd be
man.
like my take
Excellent.
on it, you know? Yeah.
Telling you, man, shit is crazy how existence is. Um, shit, like
Like
I
I
also
know
want to
I'm
ask you
very
too, huh?
like like
You,
see yo the word soul is just corrupt. You feel me? The word soul is just messed up. It's like there's something there, and I'd say I know what it is. I know like
mm,
I've had an experience of like that, but like now you say the word soul, like so many different people, like oh the soul is this, the soul is that, like some people
yeah,
the
all them
soul just
concepts
means
block the
some
fact.
people the
Yeah,
soul just means this, the thought process, right?
yeah.
Some people their soul is their body. You feel me? It's like I'd say your soul is what you operate out of. If you operate out of the absolute God, then that's your soul. If you operate out the subtle body, that's your soul. If you operate out the physical body, that's your soul. You feel me? So what does soul mean? It's like the bottom. In terms of shoes, it's the bottom, you know? It's like it's the thing that carries the whole shoe, carries the whole. Feel me? So I'd say the soul is like the
Yeah,
absolute.
word. Shit,
But in terms
man.
of like spirits and
Mm,
shit, yeah, you could if that's what your take on the soul is, yeah. It's just the word soul just gets tangled up and shit. You know what I mean?
yeah, negative and all sorts of connotations to it. Shit,
Mm-hmm.
man. So now you and I, we both see, reoccurring numbers quite frequently all the time.
Yeah,
So now, yeah, I'm about to ask you this question, like,
yeah. I'm gonna check
well,
it.
I'm not, huh?
Now I was gonna be like, I'm gonna check like how long this has been going on for, but I can't check.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna posit a question. I'm just gonna, pretty much like ask your input. Like, what would you say to, people that's seeing these sort of numbers but have no fucking idea like what the hell they mean, what they symbolize, like Like, what would you say to somebody, like, say, like, one of your homies coming to you, like, yo, I'm steadily seeing the same number. Like, what the hell does that mean? Because I got a homeboy that keeps seeing the number 69 all the time. And, like,
Yeah,
even when he pointed it out to me, like, we was
yeah,
sitting in the car, and it was a
yeah,
car parked in front, and the fucking license plate had 6969 on it. Like,
yeah, yeah.
and we
Same
didn't
shit
notice
happened
this
to
shit
me
until he
yesterday.
said
I was telling you earlier, like same shit happened to me yesterday. Yesterday, like I was chilling with the shorty and like she's like, "Yo, tell me some mystical shit." I'm like, I'll break it down, bro. Like real shit." And like she's like, "Yo, I see 27 everywhere, but I think my mind's just looking at it." I'm like, "Yo, just chill with me a little more, and you'll see." Like, nah, it ain't like your mind, the grocery store. You feel me? And
Yeah.
yo, she's like, "All right, let's cut, right?" And it's like 11:27. And I'm like, hey, see, this conversation was meant to end at 11:27. And then she looks at her kilometers on her whip, right? She was driving in like fucking 7,227 kilometers. And then like, yo, the
Mm.
grocery store is like the aisle says $4.47 type shit. And like hella shit, like, but basically, yo, I don't know why. I don't know, like, okay, I do know why. I kind of feel like it's like validation, like not in like the vain way, like in kind of like the universe kind of like telling you, yeah, like giving you the thumbs up or whatever. It's like that. But I
Mm.
feel like anyone who sees this shit, they start seeing like, yo, this is something like beyond their mind. Like for example, the number I see, like I showed you, like I got that birth certificate shit right there, and fucking
Yeah.
I'm born at that time, and I never knew that until like after. And I'm born on like the new moon and shit. Like it's like hella odd
Yeah.
shit. You feel me? And like like the numbers be like crazy. And like if you add them, like 69, it's like the mirror. You feel me? Mirror image.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Yeah.
I be seeing it adds
Yeah.
up to 11. Number that shorty be seeing, she adds up to 9, and that's another like important
Significant
number.
number. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like
Yeah, man, that
a
shit is
lot of
heavy.
shit, like number, like the whole existence is geometry. It's numbers, you feel me?
Oh yeah, definitely down to the T, man. That's the
Like,
code
yo,
that,
if the
generate
earth,
all this
like
shit.
if like the numbers were different in like the universe, the distance from the earth to the sun, the earth's diameter, life would either not happen biologically, or it would happen very different. Like numbers are essential. Like yo, numbers are interesting. You feel me? If you look at them, you
Oh, I
can
can't really hear you, man. You sound. You can you hear that? I don't know what sort of interference and shit.
hear it loud. I don't hear it like
Yo, it sounds like someone talking. Yeah, it just
it's
stopped.
not.
Yo, what the fuck, bro?
Yo, man,
That's
I
so.
feel like I feel like a lot of shit that we like think is like, I don't
Mhm.
know, yo. I only think this shit is like crazy because everybody thinks it's crazy, but like I just think it's hella normal. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like the numbers, I just be like, all right, bro, that's reality, and I'm in sync with that shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Shit,
what it
wow,
is,
bro.
man.
That shit. Damn, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. This really sounds like someone's just trying to talk to us. I don't know. But shit, man. I was gonna ask too though. I was gonna ask too. Like, like with the numbers, like, bro, like with these numbers, do
That's
you think
that's
it's
somebody
a
talking
form of
for real.
psychosis, or do you think it's like the subconscious mind just,
Wait,
like you said,
what you say?
validating?
Psychosis?
Yeah, like a form of psychosis, or is it like this the subconscious mind generating the experience by revalidating it every time it sees it, it grows stronger, so therefore it manifests more as that creates the frequency at which we
See, yo,
perceive
I
these
would,
numbers.
I would, I would throw it off as some crazy shit, but it's like from the time I was born to the shit, like I be seeing like in seconds. Like I'll walk into the room and like like the clock is on 47 seconds type shit every time. Like every time I walk into my kitchen, it's like there's this little radio and always on 47
Mhm.
seconds. Like hella shit that's just like made me realize, yo, this is something way beyond that. And it's like, yo, then how come like I like, bro, I'm like, okay, I'll try to see like another number, but like it doesn't work like that, you know? I don't know,
Mhm.
like I'm not like saying like it's some hella important shit. It's like a personal thing. I almost feel,
Oh yeah.
it's like
Word.
I don't know, what would you think on that?
Shit. From like I told you earlier before this live and shit, like I've been focusing, well, I've been giving a lot of attention to the subconscious mind and how it generates pretty much damn near
Hmm.
every experience that we have.
Including
And
outside of
by
this body,
huh?
like including outside of this body,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cause like when we say mind, when we're referring to the subconscious, we're referring to that universal mind anyway.
Hmm.
It's just, while in these bodies, it's kind of like localized to our own character and,
Hmm.
physical location and body. So it pretty much creates a little restriction, but it's not no real restriction when it comes to, the etheric aspect of it being tethered to the universal mind that is the collective human consciousness or collective, well, just consciousness, period. But yeah, I say, well, I mean, I can't say for sure, but where my thoughts are kind of leaning towards now when it comes to seeing these numbers is like it's a form of our subconscious programming our reality
Hmm.
by us seeing these numbers all the time. So it's like it's programming the reality with the number, and by us perceiving it, it's giving it more strength to continue to generate the number at the times we see it. But
Hmm.
that's just one way of looking at it. Like this shit is fucking like infinite and
I feel like
inexplicable.
it's on the same type of shit as in like manifestation, which is a
Yeah.
subconscious mind. And so I feel like
Hmm.
it's like you're manifesting that number, and that number has a
Yeah.
frequency because look, like to the unaware person who's not observing this shit, it looks like the number one is less than the number two, and the number two is less than the number three, so on. But if you look at it like, yo, within one, there's an infinite capacity. Could go 1.999 forever.
Yeah.
Two,
The
same
answer.
thing. So it's like, what number is infinity? It's both zero and each number is infinity. Infinity manifesting as these different forms. So if two has an infinite capacity, two is really infinity and one is infinity. How are these numbers different? It's
Yeah.
uh it's like the they're
Hmm.
different, like infinity, I guess. That's what you could say.
Yeah.
Your
Just different
your
manifestations of
soul
it.
is your
Yeah.
number. You could say your soul is your number. Feel me?
Yeah.
And it's like, yo,
Yeah, man.
if you're on like the same, if you see like the same type of numbers, you're kind of on the same frequency. I feel like 11 is
Mhm.
like you said, it's the master frequency. It's like one and one. Feel me? It's like
Yeah.
the inner becomes in sync with the outer.
Hmm. Exactly,
Hmm.
man. That
Yeah.
manifestation of
That's
duality,
how I feel about it.
symbolizing non-duality at the same time. We have
Hmm.
one, the two ones, which is two, and then you add that. Like shit is like I love how you pointed out the fact that there are infinite numbers that exist between each number.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's why all
Yeah.
these numbers, replicate themselves infinitely in various forms
Yeah.
forever. And
Each
the number
atom is like
nine
its own
is proof.
universe.
Hmm.
Hmm. And
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Number nine is like the one that just keeps going. That's the
Yeah,
highest potential next to zero.
exactly,
Zero and nine are the
exactly,
same shit. Zero and nine are the same
exactly.
shit. Yeah.
Nine is like a quantitative form of zero. You
Yeah.
see, like that shit is crazy,
Yeah.
yo. Vortex
Yeah.
math,
For
man.
sure.
Vortex
Hmm.
mathematics. Shit is
Yeah, I
deep,
just put
man.
that
Shit.
in. Like, yo, it could go like 1.00000 is no different
Mhm.
from 1.99999.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what it. Yeah, it's like,
Oh,
yo,
that's
we
an
sit
echo
here and
again.
look at numbers like, yo, it's like I feel like our brain intellectually breaks it down to see like yo, two cookies is better than one cookie, but like shit, looking at it like that, yeah, but like yo, fuck. That's a it's a confusing ass thing how we look at it linearly, but like really when you break it down, it's not even linear. It's like one can never become two. And it's like, yo, they say like you can't
Hmm.
like this mystical shit is science, bro. It's like
Yeah,
before the Big Bang, zero existed. How the fuck did zero become one and two and three?
exactly.
That's something beyond the physical. You feel me? Beyond numbers, you
Yeah.
know? Because
Beyond the
anything
logical
physical.
processing mind,
Hmm.
shit is too fucking like, you know what I'm saying, just infinite. Just like if like you said, like zero existed before the Big Bang, how the fuck did it get to one when there's an
Yeah,
infinite space between that, you know, from
that's the
zero to
creative
one or
force.
whatever.
That's like just beyond type shit. Feel me?
Hell
That could
yeah.
and all like yo, one doesn't exist before two because if one can never reach two, it could just expand like infinitely within itself. 1.999. It'll never touch two. So where the fuck
Mm-hmm.
does two come from if one can never get to two? All numbers manifest simultaneously. It never the universe wasn't created like there was one thing, two things, three things. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all things created like for example, like all your descendants exist already, but they just
Mm-hmm.
haven't manifested. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's like
Damn,
every
I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you
yeah,
said that, man.
yeah.
Just like how I always say, man, before it existed. Like that's
Hmm.
how we get these ideas and shit. Like it
Yeah,
comes, like it's like a sudden birth. Well, not even a birth, but it just reanimates itself or it takes
yeah,
form, and it
yeah.
already had form somewhere else.
Yeah,
Like
like a
that shit is
dream,
important to understand.
like when you go to sleep, a dream manifests, but like it already existed up here, but it
Hmm.
manifests when you go to sleep. When the yeah, but that
Yeah,
dream
man.
already existed.
Exactly. Exactly. It just that's where that may explain shit like deja vu and
Hmm.
precognitive dreams and shit. You know,
Yo,
it's
I've
just
had
like
some crazy precognitive dreams, bro. That
same
shit's
here, dog.
crazy, bro. Like I've had some like
Hmm.
shit like major events in my life, like dreamed about them type shit.
Word.
You know? Yeah. And even
Shit,
minor
man.
shit, like I've had dreams like, yo, I'm talking to like my homie on the phone on like Snapchat, and I woke
Hmm.
up and that same person texted me the same shit I just seen. Feel me? Like shit like that.
Word. Shit, man. I've had similar experiences too, man. Like
Hmm.
it's crazy, man. It's funny too, bro, because so a lot of scientific minded people or atheist sort of type of people that hold on to, the religion of science rather than the actual
Yeah.
science, they would
Uh-huh.
argue like, oh no, this is a trick of the mind, it's this, that, and the third or whatever,
Yo,
but really
I
they
feel
just
like
they lack the understanding.
they're as stupid as like the extremely religious people, bro. You know, like it's like, come on, bro, you're missing the magic of life. You feel me? Like
Yeah, being limited like that. Like that
it's
shit
like
is
you're not
limitation, bro.
understanding. Like yo, you know what scientists are? I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, for example, like a yogi in India he might not have a deep knowledge about life, but he has a deep experience about life. And then the ones who develop the deep knowledge of life, they're the ones who become like hell, like teachers and shit. You feel me? Like, oh shit, this dude a genius,
Hmm.
bro. But like all the other shamans and yogis, like they're geniuses too. They just haven't been able to articulate to like the mundane mind. You feel me? And it's
Yeah.
like what a scientist is A scientist is like they have a deep knowledge of life, but they have a very shallow experience of life, so they don't even understand like what the fuck they're talking about. It's like, yo, we hear about
Exactly.
quantum physics, we kind of intuitively understand what that is. We hear about
Yeah.
physics, like the law of gravity, like we start thinking like, yo, that's the subconscious mind of the universe. The fact that all
Hmm.
fucking planets are spheres type shit is just like how all fucking humans have with two eyes, one nose, you feel me? And
Yeah.
scientists don't understand that, like those types of scientists.
Hmm. Yeah, I love how you brought that shit up too, man. Like how planets are spheres, and you know how everything follows this code and pattern in existence of,
Hmm.
formation.
Yeah.
So that in itself disproves, shit like the so-called flat Earth theory, like that people are propagating, even though that they say that it's contained in a sphere, but the way that they, are describing this existence on planet
It
Earth
doesn't,
is absurd when it comes to
I
comparison to
feel
other planets and shit.
I feel like it's like, yo, we experience a flat earth, right? And we experience duality, right? It's like I feel like flat earth is
Yeah.
Maya, the sphere, the real earth is reality.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
you're
man.
looking at the earth from it's like an ant looking from a fucking like it's like an ant looking on top of like the surface of a basketball type shit.
Hmm.
But yo, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think I think flat earth is personally bullshit.
Word. Because it's like what they say is the sun is actually closer to it, it's pretty
Yeah.
much right above us. Now
Yeah.
that is so it's like we'll be incinerated if that was really true, man.
Yeah.
Like
It's
how
like yo,
bright that shit is.
I feel like yo, it's like the main argument of those people is what? It's like what did they say? They say like oh, they tell you about all these galaxies to make you small, and I feel like how the fuck does that make you feel small? That makes me feel powerful. Cause I am those
Yeah,
galaxies. Feel me?
exactly.
It's like I don't know, it doesn't add up like flat earth and shit. Like I definitely remember that guy on Twitter, Empyrean Elite,
Oh
crazy
yeah.
ass thing.
I remember that dude, bro.
Yo, yeah.
That's
Yeah, that guy was on some crazy shit, but like he DM'd me like, bro, like
hmm
literally like some crazy shit happened, like some fucking like street shit. Like I had to come out the hospital and shit. First day I get home, I liked some
hmm
shit that said something about flat earth. Dude DMs me, right? DMs me and like he starts talking about some like flat earth shit. So I look into it and like I'm like, alright, this kind of makes sense, the flat earth and shit. And like some shit
hmm
definitely made sense. Like he was talking about like the universe has always been, it was never created. Yeah, that added up to me. But like then I started thinking like, yo, nah, like how come everything else is sphere? Feel me? So it's
Yeah,
like you don't think Mars is like real and shit. You think it's just like
yeah,
a little orb. And also like, okay, this doesn't come from any ancient shit. Like in like for
which they
example,
claim it does.
yeah, like
That
they
shit
start
crazy.
talking about India, but like nah, like bro, if you really read like the ancient Indian astronomy, the Surya Siddhanta, the Vedas, all this shit, talks about a globe Earth. It talks about people traveling in outer space to the edge of a fucking sea of milk. Feel me?
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
like, yo, these galaxies, like, yo, these people aren't really that smart, bro. And like these galaxies, like they add up, the patterns. And also, that's just stupid because you know why it doesn't fucking. One thing is the number 108, bro.
yeah.
The fucking so like yo, all of these like Buddhist fucking temples, Sikh temples, Hindu temples, they have the number 108 everywhere. The malas are 108 beads. Like shit, I got a mala like back there. It's like 108 beads because that's what it's
Hmm.
supposed to be, right? If you take now real shit, if you like pay attention now. If you take the Earth's diameter, Google that, multiply it 108. equals the sun's diameter. Take the sun's diameter, multiply it 108. It equals the distance between the Earth and the sun. Take the moon's diameter, 108, equals the distance between the moon and the Earth. This pattern is like prevalent in the universe type shit. And
Mm-hmm.
fucking like yo, all of this ancient shit is so based off of like the globe. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's like, yo,
Listening to
you're kind
ancient.
of you're relying too much on your senses. You feel me? Your senses can't describe everything, dog. Your senses
Exactly.
cannot
That's a
describe
limited
everything.
source. That's
Huh?
that's why I don't understand. Like why use a limited instrument to measure that which is
Hmm.
immeasurable? That shit is
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly, bro. Like just get a telescope. It doesn't look round, bro. I mean, it doesn't look flat.
Yeah. Even if you get on a plane, you can get a hint
Hmm.
of its curvature. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's one reason why I never subscribed to the belief, even though, niggas would argue how, that shit is so with such passion, man.
Yo, I
But
feel like
that's
it
like that
comes
with
from
any
like,
other
yo,
belief or idea.
the one thing is like that dude, like he kind
Hmm.
of put me on to like when I watched Flat Earth shit, I kind of put me on to thinking like, okay, like yo, a lot of this shit that we know is bullshit, but like, you can't take it too far to say that even the very obvious shit is bullshit. Like, yo, remember I told you like
Yeah.
there's people on Instagram posting
Mm.
like, yo, don't eat iron, you're rusting your blood, bro. Like, I come on, come on.
That's
Like
just
you're
asinine.
confusing people, bro. Yeah. It's like I'm not one to fall into that shit, but I know a lot of people like a lot of these
Mhm.
like middle-aged white women like like yo, like it'd be like the middle-aged white women and shit, bro. Like they'll like really fall into that shit. You feel me?
Yeah, you ain't lying though, man. Well, a lot of people, for real, it's just crazy. Like people would be
Hmm.
susceptible to shit just because it's not mainstream, pretty much.
Hmm.
They
That's
want
like
to rock with it.
it's like nah, man. The globe Earth makes all the sense in the world. Like maybe they're not telling like the full truth of it, but it makes all the sense in the
Mhm.
world. It correlates with a lot of ancient shit, most ancient shit. And it's
Yeah.
like, yo, you think the stars are just like what? And the sun is not a star. Even like, okay, you can't say this shit about India. That's how you know it's lying, because a lot of these people base it off of like Egyptian, Hindu, like shit. But like, even like the whole fucking like Kal Yuga, Sat Yuga, that shit goes off of okay, there's a solar system, right? And this solar system revolves around a larger solar system. This solar system revolves around another one, and it goes all the way to the center of the galaxy type shit. And
Hmm.
basically, the closer our solar system, when our solar system is closest to that solar system, which is basically like it's explained like a larger version. Like I kind of imagine it like yo, people there are like like fucking giants and shit. Like just like I don't know, like that, like that's not how I literally imagine it, but like yeah, basically a large star, like very like probably way bigger than the sun. And when we're
Hmm.
closest to that is when it's the Satyuga, when like basically humans are gods and goddesses, and that's what like all the 33 millions of gods and goddesses of India, what they basically are, they're like basically like 50 like thousand or some shit like years ago, a civilization in India, right?
Hmm.
Had 33 million people. All the gods and goddesses of India are like those people, you feel me?
Yeah.
It's like the people of that age, it's like a monkey is basically like a human being in the Satyuga. And a human being is like a divine creature, you feel me? A creator, not a
Word.
creation.
Yeah.
But the
Exactly.
thing is, like we have the ability as human beings to generate our own like shit, you feel me? Like
Hmm.
we can be like that. Like to go from creation to creator type shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's our potential. That's our power right there, man. That's the shit
Yeah,
that, those who we call, they definitely don't want us tapping into. Hence
yeah,
why we are given jobs and all these
yeah.
different
Like yo,
limitations to be
even
distracted. Yeah,
like yo, I
but
seen
yeah,
this shit on fucking. I seen this shit on Twitter the other day. Like not like the ads. Like I don't follow this shit, but like the Canadian Cancer Society, they put an ad like 1 in 2 Canadians are expected to get cancer in their lifetime, bro. Like, okay, why are
God
you
damn.
scaring? You're putting that fear in people. You feel me?
Hell yeah.
It's
Which
yo,
then create
cancer
this
isn't like
subconscious belief that'll generate the
yeah,
experience.
yeah. It's like yo, my sympathies to anybody with like loved ones with cancer, and, like with cancer, if there's anybody watching this, but like you have to understand that it's not
Yeah,
an effect. It's not a so-called natural thing. You feel me? In the terms that
yeah,
we would
hell
look
no.
at it. An infection you could call natural because it's another organism, but
Mm-hmm.
cancer is just your body attacking itself.
Yeah, that shit is highly
And we're
unnatural.
and that starts up here, you feel me, in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually we say up
Yeah,
here, but the mind is spread out, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
the DNA holds more mind in every single cell than your whole brain does. Like I heard a man say that, like, yo, your
Mm-hmm.
DNA has memory all the way back to the beginning of life, probably beyond bacteria, probably down to soil and dust and shit, and just water,
Yeah.
right? And your brain just has
Mm-hmm.
fucking memories of this lifetime, you know?
Exactly. Which is
Mm-hmm.
limited as fuck. Outside of the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious or universal mind that is the
Yeah.
subconscious tied to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. See, man, that shit is way deeper. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Shit,
and that's
dog.
like,
I was gonna ask you about like Shiva, like there's a lot of people that, like to appropriate, Indian and Hindu culture and
yeah, for
like
sure.
to utilize their gods and goddesses for whatever selfish desires they have. Because you
Yeah,
explain to, some people who are in this so-called New Age society or community
yeah.
what Shiva
Yeah,
is
I'm pull
and
up
what
some
he
shit right here.
represents.
Yeah. Basically, like,
Yeah.
yo, Shiva, like, there's like 2 dimensions to it, I guess. The word Shiva, like, there's two translations. One is like the auspicious one, which is, fuck does auspicious mean? It means like beautiful or some shit.
Like promising or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
promising of success and type
Yeah,
shit
but
like that.
it means
Like,
that which is auspicious, but really, like, if you were to go into ancient Sanskrit, like
mm-hmm,
unaltered Sanskrit, which is like, yo, the earliest like yo, I'm not Hindu, like I'm Sikh, like as in like family, which is like yeah, like I'll explain that later if we have time, but like basically I got a Hindu
mm-hmm,
homeboy and like he has this picture of Shiva in his house, and like even when I went to India this year, like earlier in February, January and shit, a lot of people have
mm-hmm,
this picture, so they found this little coin, bro, and it's like 20,000 years old, carbon dated, and that picture is in every like Hindu's home. You feel me? Like for
mm-hmm,
real. So that's like an old ass thing to be preserved. But like basically, the unaltered definition is actually that which is not. But motherfuckers can't understand that. We understand that. Feel
yeah.
me? Like a lot of people don't understand that. That which is not. It's like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's the
Yeah.
dimension you call Shiva. It's like there's two aspects. Shiva is like the void, empty space, complete empty space. Shakti is like the life energy. And basically, like, yo, I remember you tweeted like hella long ago, like, yo, when you have sex, like, yo, your dick will become hard, but it was soft before. The pussy will become like open and shit, soft, and it was
Yeah.
rigid before. And
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it, like, okay, the void has moved. The void has moved. You feel me? Originally, it was still. And what is
Mm-hmm.
consciousness? Consciousness, you can say it's a void, but I don't say it's a void. I say it's an energy. It's a life energy. I say this is the void, right? This
Yeah.
is the void, the physicality. So the void has moved. It used to be soft. It's become hard, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Shakti
Yeah.
was moving and she's become still, and like Shiva has like you could say penetrated her. You feel me? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like you gotta have like a
Damn.
mind to understand it, but like that's the
Hmm.
dimension we call Shiva. And like this dude Sadhguru, like that dude's like you can't get into like a person, right? And that's what like people do, I feel like. But if you just watch that dude, like he drops a lot of gems on like ancient Indian history, consecration and all that shit, right?
Word.
And
Word.
yeah, and like basically, yo, that guy got me really researching into like Shiva, right? Basically, Shiva as a
Hmm.
man, like what he was like you could think back to like caveman times, like probably 50,000 years ago. Imagine like a
Hmm.
civilization in India around North India, right? So like maybe northeast or somewhere like somewhere near the Himalayas. It could be like Pakistan or something. If you imagine
Hmm.
Indus Valley civilization, they say is one of the first civilizations in the world, like archaeologist type shit, right?
Yeah.
And basically, yo, you can imagine a civilization full of like occult people, like that were into psychic shit, that were into all this shit, and so, but like they didn't know they could probably like do some crazy shit we can't imagine, create a human being straight out of soil type shit, right? Create
Hmm.
like life out of soil, like, but they didn't know like what, like they didn't know the real science to it, right? So they
Yeah.
say like
Yeah.
this one dude came, Shiva, that he came from like an astral plane, right? And
Hmm.
he basically in the astral plane, like he studied like human shit, right? And basically, he learned how to master the human body completely to the point where he could just live forever, do anything with it. He came here with
Hmm.
the complete knowledge of Earth, right? And like people could do things, but like he just came, he just sat down, you feel me? Like meditated for like 1,000 years. And these seven niggas, like they were like sages, they just fucking sat around him. And if you fucking go Google this, like that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna post some shit up, like just to get that. Like yo,
Hmm.
hold on. I'm just trying to get the exact name. Like Sumerian seven sages.
Word.
Like you heard of Sumer, the civilization. Like have you ever heard of Sumer? The
You said,
Sumerians.
have I heard of it sooner?
The
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sumerians.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So like the
With that whole
Sumerians also
creation
have
story and shit.
they have a legend about the seven Apkallu, the seven sages. You feel me? Very similar
Hmm.
story to Shiva and the seven sages. And the seven sages are always in India, like to do with the fish. I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure the word apkalu means fish, so it's like, I right, like you're getting like some synchronicity there. Like you're
Yeah.
seeing like, yo, this is probably some real shit. And basically this dude, like he expounded seven forms of yoga to seven sages. He had like the complete science down, and like he just chilled in the Himalayas and shit. And like basically, dude was like a gangster. You feel me? Like a real gangster. Like the like and
Ancient gangster.
so real shit. And like and the first one was like karma yoga, which is basically like how to act physically, how to act, right? He taught
Hmm.
one dude karma yoga, like how to just become liberated through physical action, right? Taught another
Yeah.
dude jnana yoga, which is like contemplation, how to become liberated by contemplation. Taught another dude bhakti yoga, which is like devotional worship, emotional worship, and how to become liberated just through emotionally being devoted to somebody or something, right? Whether
Hmm.
that's like a guru or like fucking Jesus or like even like in a relationship, like like that's like that. Actually, I shouldn't even have said that because like people just get into their fantasies, but like right, but like
Yeah. Gotta lay the
then you
groundwork,
taught
you
like
know what I'm saying?
then he taught nada yoga, which is like just using sound, just using mantra. And then he taught Kriya, and
Hmm.
then I can't remember the other one, but like the final sage, Agastya Muni, he taught Kriya Yoga, which is working with the astral body. And that's basically like becoming like a true scientist. Like it's like you could destroy life, you could create life at your will type shit. That's like the complete
Mm-hmm.
science, you know, that involves all of the other yogas type shit. And like Shiva was basically like, yeah, just like a dude who came during a time where like human beings were very competent and what would you say?
Pretty much on that shit.
Like like they were like they could do some shit, but they didn't know why and they didn't know what. And he just came and
Mm-hmm.
like taught people and like he had like a wife and shit, Parvati and like all this shit, you know? He had like he brought homies from his astral world and shit. Feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Called the Ganas and shit. They didn't
Right.
take human form, they just stayed in like some astral form, but like it manifested into the physical type shit. And they just look like
Mm-hmm.
fucking crazy shit. And
Mm.
that's what like Shiva like actually was, and like some temples of him are old as fuck and like uh that's like some history that's super old. Like we're talking like caveman type shit, you know? But like not
Yeah.
caveman. You would see it like primal, tribal shit. Like very primal
Mm-hmm.
shit. And yeah, that's what like Shiva would be like. Krishna was just a human being, like a very like that's not even too long ago. That's like around 6,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was basically like there was like five empires or some shit around that much, and they all like were kind of tied together by Krishna because all the emperors would go to him for advice and shit. And basically his life ended like a huge war happened, Mahabharat. That's like the longest fucking epic like story ever written in history. It's like 200,000 pages or some shit. Crazy shit.
God damn.
And like it
That's
has
a
like
lot.
hella characters. Or it's 200,000 characters, individual
Mm-hmm.
character. I don't know about how many pages. It's like it explains a war called the Kurukshetra War, and yeah, that's what like Krishna was like kind of like Jesus in a time where like people were already kind of enlightened, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like this like they found a city under water called fucking the fuck was it? I'm gonna search that up. Oh yeah, Dwarka. They found Krishna's city called Dwarka, and it
Mm-hmm.
carbon dated to like 30,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like however true that is, whatever, but like yeah, like a lot of this shit, like you can't go to archaeology. You have to go to some Indian shit. Like for example, I'm sick. Like uh, basically
Mm-hmm.
we follow Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and like this is only 300 years ago and shit. Guru Nanak was like, you know, an enlightened dude who enlightened other people. Went on like 10 gurus and shit. The 10th guru was like, the sixth guru was like a warrior like type shit. You feel me? Like he was like,
Yeah.
you know, murking people type shit, fucking killing lions with his bare hands type shit. And this is not, this is like
Man,
written.
that's some gangsta ass shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, this is a gangster type shit, like for real. And then, you know, it goes on. The 10th guru was just like him. He was a real warrior. And this is like all
Mm-hmm.
written history. Like the Europeans and shit have this written. You feel me? Like, dude who. So basically, how he died is like two dudes snuck into his house, tried to kill him, but he got up, killed them both. Some European surgeons stitched him up. Then, like, yo, he was just chilling, the stitch open, and he's like, "I fuck it, like, I'ma just leave." He meditated and left. But in his book, he wrote hella Indian history type shit. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
goes way back, and like that's how you find out about this because like the real when you get into like the real accounts like that have been passed down for thousands of years, they match up. If you go to archaeologist
Mm.
shit, nah, they don't match up because you motherfuckers stole half the shit that could have been
Yeah.
dated. You feel me? So like,
Yeah.
or burnt it and shit. But if you go
More
to
than
like the
like,
oral account, yeah, and it's like,
damn.
yo, you were saying like people use the gods and goddesses. I don't think people really know it because you kind of gotta. be familiar with Indian culture, I guess, or the real history of it, because even people part of
Mm-hmm.
the culture get it twisted. Like, for example, like some of these goddesses were created by sages, you feel me? They're astral forms that were literally just created out of like the universe's energy. They weren't there before. And they were created to help mankind type shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were like real astral beings and like I haven't looked too much into it, but there's definitely like shit that lines up between the great like civilizations, you know, or the
Oh yeah.
deities and shit.
Yeah. See, now you just touched on something that's really interesting, mentioning, how these sages created some of these gods or god
Mhm.
forms. Like that's very important for people to understand because a lot of the so-called gods and goddesses in many different pantheons throughout different ethnicities and human tribes or peoples have been created by those people. And at the same time, some of them, if not most, were pre-existing, in the astrals and beyond as etheric beings that were never born. Some people, passed on and became gods, in
Yeah,
these
yeah,
different
yeah. Mm-hmm.
astral
For
planes.
sure.
Yeah,
That's what like
yeah,
yeah,
man.
I said that earlier too. Like a lot of the gods and goddesses of India were people like a very long times ago, like when people were
Exactly,
basically gods
exactly.
and goddesses, you know? And like you could say like the Buddha is like kind of a god. People pray to the Buddha and shit. Like to a Buddhist, the Buddha is a god. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like to a
in
Sikh,
Japan they still watch.
like Guru
Mm-hmm.
Har Gobind, Guru Nanak, like all those guys are like actually like they even embody like what you would think of as a god. They're like warriors that like real warriors. You feel me? Like they had like hella
Mm-hmm.
families and shit and it's not like they were like players, like they had like hella wives and all of their kids grew up to be like legends
Mm-hmm.
type shit, like revered people
Hey,
type shit. They were raising like 10 kids and shit, you feel me? Just from their
yeah,
presence.
building nations, man. That's what guys do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, you mentioned that they, were warriors and shit, and like that's another question I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you too. Like when it comes to spirituality and martial arts and combative hand-to-hand combat, like
Hey,
like
Krishna
like
was a
like
warrior
what
too.
what would you say, bro?
I said Krishna was a warrior too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's where a lot of these so-called spiritualists get it messed up with, particularly, the new age ones that they think
Yeah.
that it's all peace, love, and harmony, no violence. And if you
And
are violent, that makes you, whatever. But it's like violence is a part of existence. Like an ant is
mm,
eaten by a worm, not a worm, but by some larger insect, and this larger insect is eaten by a bird, and the bird is eaten by something else. Like it's just part of this shit.
mm,
So having a martial art is a very, good form of
spiritual
spirituality, and
practice.
that's why I wanted to ask, like, you think having, being a martial artist or somebody, practicing self-defense, does that help one become more wise or become more spiritual?
Like yo, you're saying like, see, that's a problem I never dealt with because like growing up sick, like when we go to the temple, before we bow to anything, we bow to swords and guns and shit. That's the first thing you bow to.
Yeah.
Literally, you bow to swords and guns and shit at the altar. Feel me? Like you literally bow your
Yeah.
head there. All the pictures of fucking like shit. I'm gonna see if I have it. Like bro, like I'll show you some shit. Like look at this shit. You feel me?
Word.
Like what is that? That's two swords, then a sword in the
Oh
middle.
shit. Yeah.
Right? Like, look, I
That's
got a
dope as
fucking
fuck.
sword right here. See that shit? I got
Hey.
a legit sword right here. Like this shit, like yo, it's the same shit. You feel me? It's just
Yeah.
swords and shit. So that's
That
something
shit
I never
whack.
had a problem with. Like basically, like I'm gonna explain this from like my point of view, like
Mm-hmm.
from Guru Nanak learned like almost every like spiritual system, like it has some sort of self-defense, bro. Cause like, I bro, like what
Exactly.
the fuck? Like it's like I wouldn't say anybody who practice. I think yeah, like because yo, what is fighting? You have to respect every aspect of the fight. You feel me? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. Like you have to learn respect. You have to learn discipline. To learn patience. Because in a fight you have to
Exactly.
be patient. You know, if you've ever like I grew up really fighting, bro. Like my knuckles were real fucked up. You see that?
Yeah, see.
Yeah, like I grew up like this is shit from when I was like 14 years old. Like I grew up fighting, bro. Like fighting with bats, knives, and shit. You know, like I got
Yeah,
hella
yeah.
scars with the fucking
Mm.
fucking. I
Yeah,
got see
man.
that shit right here. See that
Where is
shit?
that? Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
Damn.
I got scars on my head, bro. Like real nigga shit. Like I feel like that adds like a real dimension like of the root. You feel me? That keeps you rooted. In a
Mm-hmm.
fight, you have to know
Yeah.
like, yo, this guy might just knock me out next punch. This guy might just if it's like with a knife or like people are shooting, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you walk down the street, you gotta like, you know, you gotta be aware. Like
Be
you might
alert.
die walking down the street type shit. And
Yeah.
like that's what like it's like for example like uh basically like yo if you look at six this is what happened like Guru Nanak like he taught like his shit. Another guru came, Guru Angad, then Guru Amar Das, Guru Ram Das. The fifth guru was boiled alive, right? He was boiled alive.
Mm-hmm.
And his Sufi friend came and he's like, yo, I can make this building fall the fuck down, right? Like I got people that'll come kill these motherfuckers. He's like, and he's just sitting and apparently like he's getting boiled alive. He just smiled at him, right? While getting boiled alive. And he's like, yo, bro, like, don't worry, right? And basically, there's this guy named Baba Buddha, right? That's how what like Westerners would pronounce it, right? But like in India, it's pronounced Buddha, right? Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like in our language,
But
Punjabi, we call any old person Buddha. Like yo, like you know, that's a old man, that's a Buddha. Like we just say that, right?
mm-hmm.
It's just like part of the culture, I guess.
Yeah.
But like so basically, that guy told the Guru's wife that you're gonna give birth. Like, yo, see, a lot of like a lot of these misconceptions I never got tangled in growing up because all of the Gurus were
Mm.
married, had kids, yet they're the wisest people out of any of these fucking sages like that you like a lot of people like listen to. And they proved it
Yeah.
they proved it in the realest place where you could prove shit in the battlefield. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
going to like getting boiled alive, having to eat their babies type shit. Real nigga
Yeah,
shit.
that shit brutal.
Like like so yeah, he got boiled alive and like basically his wife was told you'll be given like you're gonna give birth to like a child that'll make like tyranny fall, right? Like basically the Baba Buddha took an onion and crushed it. He's like like yo, she just brought him like food as an offering, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like he took her onion and he just crushed it and looked at her and she's like, yo, what the fuck, dog? and like and like he's like, yo, your son is gonna crush the enemies of humanity like this, right? And Guru Har Gobind was like a gangster, like a real gangster. Like that's somebody like fuck being Sikh, fuck being Indian, bro. You gotta look into that because like you look into any
Mm-hmm.
person who's worth looking into, you feel me? But
Yeah.
but like basically dude was like basically so every other group they would get like the thing on the forehead of sacred ash from a dead body and like basically that's a whole science consecration. Some substances could
Mhm.
hold like astral energy type shit, right? And
Yeah.
uh basically he's like, yo, I don't want that, bring me two swords, right? And so this
Mm-hmm.
guy fought hella battles. He went hunting with the emperor of the Mughals because basically like the philosophy was like okay, like, yo, I understand all, like, my people hate the emperor, but if I change the emperor, it's that I can't go to every poor person and fucking like feed them. That's not like possible for one man to do, right? But if I go to the emperor, show him this spiritual wisdom and he accepts it, he'll just feed all the poor people because he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like he
Yeah.
went hunting with the emperor one day and basically a lion attacked the emperor. He fucking killed that shit.
Mm.
Like, you know,
Damn.
just like I'm just saying like to how Gangster Man was like he had 3 wives, hella kids. All the kids are remembered to this day. They weren't none of them were fools, you feel me? They were all like all his daughters, all his sons. He went to
Mm-hmm.
jail. The emperor, even after fucking going hunting with him, the emperor put him in jail and he was in jail for 2 years. When he was about to get released, he's like, I'm not leaving until all of my homies from jail are released with me. And basically, he got 52 other people released with him.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
but
see what you're saying. Hell yeah.
he fought
That's
hella
a
wars.
real
Yeah, he fought hella wars like
yeah.
on the front line, but he never died in war. He fought them.
Damn.
He said, don't call me guru unless I'm the one on the front line. I'm standing in front of you. He's like, I'm not the general if I'm standing behind. The general stands in front. He's on the front line.
Mm-hmm.
That was his philosophy, right? And this isn't.
Yeah.
This is the six. This is the 1600s, bro. This isn't old, right? This isn't like.
Yeah, yeah. That shit
This is
kind of
recorded
recent.
shit. Yeah, that's
Hell yeah,
recent.
that
You
shit
feel
ain't
me?
too far. Yeah.
And then
It's
after his
400
son
years.
grew Harai, like he brought him a sword. He brought him a coconut. And coconut basically like this is getting into too much shit, but like basically like all the gurus were passed on like yo, they literally transmitted their energy which came from Guru Nanak, right? And on and basically a coconut,
Mm-hmm.
you could hold a spirit in a coconut like we were talking earlier, like your homie put a spirit in a watch type shit. A coconut is like it could hold that type of energy. So I gave him that and like all this
Mm-hmm.
shit, and he went in a room and he just meditated and left his body. His son, like just living off of the reputation of how gangster his dad was, people like were scared, like you don't fuck with this guy. So basically his son was just a
Yeah.
master of herbs. Like he knew every herb type shit, Guru Harai.
Mm-hmm.
And he always kept an army, 2,000 soldiers wherever he went, but he never had to fight a battle in his life, right?
Mm.
Because like just the respect. And
Yeah.
this was a time where like, yo, if you were on some spiritual shit, that the tyrannical empires that run India would kill you if you were like that
Mm-hmm.
large scale and like especially if you had armies and shit, you feel me?
Yeah.
Like they would want war with you, but like they didn't want war with him. After that, the next guru was a 5-year-old boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Yeah.
the
I
whole
remember telling.
fucking the whole army was led by a 5-year-old boy. The next guru was Guru Tegh Bahadur, which is he got his head chopped off, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then next guru was the final guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. He was a straight gangster, like the probably like I heard like bro, white people who study this guy, they go like this is probably the most inspirational man who has ever lived on this earth type shit, right?
Mm.
And like that's not to say
Damn.
ever on this earth, it's just like the out of who you've studied type shit, you know? Like there's hella
Mm-hmm.
people like that, but like basically dude like from 9 years old he was learning how to go to war because his and basically he's the one who told like the reason his dad got his head cut off was because there was a group of Hindus and they were like gonna be forced to convert to Islam, but not real Islam, of course, like some bullshit, right? And
Yeah. Some awesome.
yeah, and they were gonna be forced, and they're like, "Yo, you have 6 months. So you either get all of you get beheaded, which was like a population of thousands of people. It's like you either
Mm.
get massacred or you convert." And they Guru Tegh Bahadur, who had like a large following, he's like, "Yo, fuck it. Like, yo, I'm gonna get my head cut off. You guys don't worry, right?" He's like, "If they can convert me, then they can convert you. If they can't convert me, my head is worth your heads, right?" And the emperor agreed. He's like, "I'm gonna convert your ass," right? And he never converted. He just stood there and shit. And basically, Guru Gobind Singh Ji was the one that's like, "Yo, who's greater to make that sacrifice than you, dad? You feel me? Like, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji, like, he was like a warrior, like a real warrior type shit. Like, I went to this temple in India, and what that temple basically is like Guru Gobind Singh Ji pulled up with like 200 soldiers. The emperor was
Mm.
sleeping on a bed, and they had war with the emperor. He shot an
Mm-hmm.
arrow to the, like, in India they have these wooden beds called manje. Like, yo, I have one in my crib even here, and like he shot it, he knocked off the leg, right? And basically he's like, yo, I could have shot you in your head, but you were sleeping. I want you awake type shit. So he was like a real gangster. You feel me? Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
and like if you read like his four of his sons got killed by the emperor. He wrote like a letter, just like it just speaks like a dude like from like heaven talking to like some tortured soul type shit, and he just says like hella shit, like, you know, he's like, you killed four of my sons, that doesn't matter, the hooded cobra still sits coiled up and shit, like, you know, the cobra still sits
Mm.
coiled up, like, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, he's
God
just like
damn.
a G, you know, like, and the way he died was like uh two dudes came to kill him, he killed them both, and then after he just decided to leave on his own. A lot of people came after that were like, he gave he found that nobody was like spiritually powerful enough to take the guruship. He looked and he looked, but then he just consecrated the book, and he never put his writings in that book. He put his writings separate,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like just to show
Yeah.
humility type shit. And then he chose like five people, and he called them like the five beloved ones. And he took, and basically he's like, I need a head. He pulled out his sword. He's like, I need a head, right? One dude stood up. He's like, I'll give my head. He took the dude behind the curtain. He came back with his sword all bloody. He's like, I need another head. Another dude came that agreed. Chopped off it. They say he chopped off. They say he actually chopped off his head. Even a European dude who was there said like, yo, he actually chopped off their heads. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever it is. Either way, the moral is not that if he actually chopped off their head or what. Third dude came. Five dudes. He came, and and then like, yo, people were like shook. They're like, yo, this guy's just chopping people's heads off, right? This guy's gone crazy. He came back and
Mm-hmm.
they were all like fine. And then all the other people regretted like not giving their head type shit. And he got like baptized by those five people, like just to show humility like that. He didn't baptize them, he got baptized by them, which was like you have to think of not like the Christian baptism, like some actual scientific like consecration shit, right?
Yeah.
And then he gave like the military leadership to a dude named Banda Singh Bahadur. Now you're getting into real recent recorded history, like the 1800s and shit. And this was like the dudes that like forced the 7-year-old tyranny out of India, established the Sikh empire. The way Banda Singh Bahadur died, he had to eat his 1-year-old son first. Then like, yo, they skinned him alive. They gouged out his eyes, and apparently he just stood still as a rock, you feel me? And apparently they gouged out his eyes because they couldn't look into his eyes, you feel me? Like they were shook type shit. And just hella
Mm-hmm.
people. There's a dude named Baba Deep Singh who basically like, yo, we got this temple called the Harmandir Sahib. Like they know it as the Golden Temple, I guess, but like uh basically like these Mughals, they took over that temple, they fucking like they poured dead bodies everywhere. This dude's like, yo, fuck it. Like, he had no army. He had no nothing. He just went to a bunch of villages, got a bunch of angry ass farmers and shit, gave them weapons. He's like, alright, we're gonna go
Yeah.
take this shit over. He got his head chopped off and he fell to the ground. And another dude's like, bro, you said you're gonna die at the temple. He had his head chopped off. He got up, put his head back on, just kept fighting. And then he went and actually died at the temple. That spot is still marked, you know, like
God
where he
damn.
died.
Man,
And like I had that
that's some
picture.
jeez.
Yeah, that's why I had
Straight
that.
up
That's
G.
why I have that picture on Instagram where like, yo, the dude has his head's on the floor and it's detached from his body and he's bowing, right? That's that dude. Like
Yeah.
he actually got his head cut off and he just kept fighting, you know. And he reached the
That's
temple
some
and then
hella
he just,
willpower.
yeah, just
Yeah.
straight willpower type shit. and like hella shit
Crazy.
came from like that. Like so I never had that problem of like yo separating like militancy and spirituality type shit. It was always one thing, you feel me? It's like yo
Yeah,
when it's like Guru Gobind Singh Ji, his like philosophy or whatever. I don't call it philosophy. I call it reality. It was when all other means fail, you draw the sword. You know, because some people will never understand another way until like they just get murked.
yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
it be like that. That's just how
Hmm.
it be sometimes, man. Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
shit, man. I definitely appreciate you for, sharing that
Yeah.
history, you know what I'm saying? And putting people onto that. That way,
Mhm.
those who come across this live interview, you know what I'm saying, might have interest in that and look into, you know what I'm saying, Sikh culture and the history and the
Yeah.
gurus and their
Hmm.
stories, because that's some hella interesting ass shit, you
Yeah.
know?
And like just
And,
one more thing, like we're talking about like ancient history, like basically this shit goes back like so Guru Gobind Singh Ji wrote like hella shit like about the real history and basically he puts it in like this like Guru Nanak 15,000 years ago or not fit like hella like tens of thousands of years ago there was two kingdoms Love and Kush and like Love and Kush like literally that's what they were called right and there's
mhm.
two clans, but Bedi and Sodi, like still those clans are around. Like I know people with those last names and shit. And
Yeah.
and basically Guru Nanak was like a king and shit, and he gave his kingdom away, and like he just became a yogi and shit. And some dude asked him, he's like, "Yo, we're your brother. Why didn't you give your kingdom to us?" And they were part of the Sodi clan. He was part of the Bedi clan. He's like, "I'm gonna give you a clan. I'm gonna give you a kingdom that's way larger than this." And then when he came as Guru Nanak. three two gurus nah three gurus came from that clan and this is like this is I'm saying this because like the real history type shit like you have to like you can't just talk about these gods and goddesses not they actually come from like you have to know the background type shit right and then all
Exactly.
like from the fourth guru on they all came from that one clan you know the Sodi clan and like Guru Gobind
Hmm.
Singh he writes his story like he was like basically like yo he was in his past life uh actually yo that's going too far into it you know
Hmm.
yeah
Yeah, man. Shit. It's all good, man. But yeah, man. I'm glad to have you on, bro. We're about to go
yeah
ahead and call it, you know what I'm saying?
yeah
A
conclude it
completion. Yeah,
yeah
conclusion, you know what I'm saying?
yeah that
Definitely, you
was
know what I
hella
mean?
long bro that was hella long
Yeah, man. Shit, that would be some future shit that we could do. Probably another one, you know what I'm saying? When the time comes. But go ahead and let people know where they can find you on the internet. Provide any social media if you want them to follow you, whoever that might see this interview. Go ahead and lay that down for them.
I'm be like I was telling you like I got this one shorty that's like really good at drawing and I got like some crazy ideas so like I'm trying to like make some clothes and shit I don't want to post it in here because like yo I don't want to be advertising on School Inside that's some like whack shit but like yeah you can follow me on like sound underscore unstructured. Like that's the account that like
Yo, I can't hear you. It's like a sound that keep on happening,
yeah.
and now it just stops as soon as I said something. Like
Like
that's
yo,
crazy.
fucking I got this account
Yeah.
called sound underscore unstruck. That's like where I tweet it.
Mm,
Basically, yeah. But like yo, I'm trying to be like coming out with like some real clothes, but like not as in like yo, I want you to support me. I just like it's gonna be some shit that like yo, people like even people aren't into some mystical shit.
So you hear that sound? Like it's something weird that sound that keep on happening.
Yeah, I do for
Trying to,
sure. Super
I don't know
loud,
what
you know.
that is.
I hear
If you
that
can,
shit.
like, type in like your the sound the sound unstruck account. You know what I'm saying? Like, type it in the chat comment joint. I don't know how to do it on here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That way. It'll come up where, yeah, there you go on Twitter. Yeah, follow that on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And now the noise is gone. It's like
Hmm.
I don't know what the fuck is up with that shit. But yeah. But yeah, you were
Yeah.
saying about like your clothes and shit though, like you trying to,
Yo,
get that off the
I'm trying
ground.
to make some crazy clothes, you feel me? Like I feel like I got
Yeah,
some ideas that like people will really be fucking with type shit. Whether they're into like some
yeah,
conscious shit or not, just like trying to like trying to like blend like some ancient shit with like real modern shit, you feel me?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's up. Hell
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Like I don't want to reveal the ideas because I don't want people stealing them because they're some dope
Oh
ass
yeah, yeah,
ideas. Yeah.
yeah, definitely hold on to it. Just let that shit
Yeah.
manifest. You know what I'm saying? Let them
Uh-huh.
see the product
Uh-huh.
when it's complete.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell
For
yeah.
sure.
But yeah, my Raj man, it's been good, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chopping it up.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. Hey, that's what's up, man. Shit. Hey,
Yeah,
man, that's my boy right there, man. One of the first
mhm,
supporters with the insight, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
years ago.
sure.
Hell yeah.
Yo, bro, I was like 14 years old, dog, when I first started like following you. I don't think we started chopping it up till like, like for a minute, but like, shit,
Yeah,
you know, like, yo, it's like fucking. I don't know, yo. I feel like we really homies, you know. Like we don't know each other in real life, but
yeah.
like we're homies for real. You feel me?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. You already
Been
know.
hella long.
Real talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
homies by
yeah.
spirit. You feel me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. In spirit, you know what I'm saying? That's all that is.
Uh-huh.
So that's the most
Mhm.
important.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's why she be syncing up like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You already know,
So,
man. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and you know what I'm saying, hang this joint up and put it
I
on the
say that.
YouTube when I get the time and shit. And
Yeah.
shit, man, you be easy. And let everybody know like peace and guidance. You know what I'm saying? It's been
Mhm.
another episode. And we'll see
Mhm.
y'all again. Peace.
Peace.
All right.